suffering for your faith is different than being a person of faith who is experiencing suffering. When Peter wrote this passage to his congregation, the whole congregation was experiencing some form of persecution for their faith. While this passage can be a source of strength for us as individual Christians in the midst of trials and sufferings, too often it gets quoted to others who are experiencing suffering in their life as a kind of cure-all. The idea is that if they're a person of faith, they should rejoice in all their suffering. Or if they aren't a person of faith, they should become one so that they can rejoice in all their sufferings. But that's not what Peter intended in writing the passage. We struggle to understand what suffering for our faith means because we haven't ever really experienced it in the modern West. So we expand the meaning of the passage to cover any kind of suffering. But to do so for others traps them in suffering that is in no way connected to suffering for their faith. Suffering for our faith, if we are ever presented with that reality, connects us with the cross of Christ when we choose to suffer rather than renounce our faith. But to tell people to rejoice in suffering that is not connected to the cross through faith is simply to condemn people to a life which does not reflect the abundant life Christ wants for us. God does not want people to suffer in illness, in abusive situations, or under bigotry. It is precisely those kinds of sufferings that Christ came to free us from.